Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Welcome. I'm Brandon from Los Angeles, California.
Hey everyone, my name is Braylon and I'm a senior at Steel Canyon High School in San Diego, California.
What's up? My name is Gus. I'm a junior at Chase Collegiate School in Waterbury, Connecticut.
We're from Sandy Hook Promise, and we're here to talk with you about the Say Something anonymous reporting system. And it's 3 easy steps that help prevent shootings, violence, suicide, and other harmful acts in your school and community. Trust me, violence is not something I take lightly. As an educator in Los Angeles, I lost several students to violence. If we had learned to say something, I believe many of those students would have been saved. That's because the Say Something anonymous reporting system has already helped save thousands of lives across the country. Let's hear one of those stories of where lives were saved.
During my freshman year, I attended a training from Sandy Hook Promise. With the knowledge I gained that day, I made the choice to say something when a serious threat was made to my school. Weeks later, a boy in my class posted a picture on Snapchat of a gun in his hand, warning students not to come to school the following day because he was going to shoot it up. All over social media, people were warning their friends and posting about how they were scared to go to school the next day. I made the choice to say something. I took a screenshot of the post and went to see my teacher and told her I needed to talk. At first, I felt uneasy and awkward about going to her with this scary information. However, I knew it was too important not to take seriously, and that I had to say something to an adult. As soon as I did, my teacher reassured me that I did the right thing, and we went to the school resource officer together. Because I reported the threat, the school and police were able to intervene before anyone was harmed. Years later, I still shudder as I think about how the situation might have played out if I hadn't taken action, if I hadn't said something. I know that day, lives were saved.
Each of you has the power to say something and to stop violence before it takes place, just like Braylon did. Today, you will learn how to protect yourself, your classmates, and your community from shootings, violence, suicide, and other harmful acts, simply by saying something. Say Something consists of 3 easy steps. Step 1, look for warning signs and threats. Step 2, when you observe a sign or threat, act immediately and take it seriously. And step 3, say something to a trusted adult, call 911, or use the Say Something anonymous reporting system. Using these 3 steps, you will make a real difference in keeping your school safe and getting help for people who need it. Before we jump into the details of each step, I want to emphasize that schools are safe. In fact, they are one of the safest places to be in your community. However, they aren't immune to shootings, violence, suicide, threats, and other harmful acts.
For instance, almost 20%, or 1 in every 5 students, report being bullied. You may not realize this, but bullying has a significant and negative impact on your personal and overall school safety. When Maria was in 9th grade, a group of girls would roll their eyes and call her fat and ugly every time they saw her. Maria's friend, Julie, watched this happen every day and even saw her crying a couple of times in the locker room. Earlier in the week, Maria texted Julie saying that she's decided to not go to the cafeteria to eat lunch anymore because the bunch of girls tease and taunt her as she walks by the table. Throughout the year, Julie noticed that Maria started to come to class late and her grades started slipping. Maria started getting harassed on Instagram by the same girls. The bullying persisted and Maria started cutting herself. When Maria was absent for a couple of days, Julie looked at her Insta story and saw a disturbing post with a picture of Maria's arms with cuts all over them and a message saying, "I feel dead inside, but this makes me feel something."
In addition to bullying, far too many students ideate about, attempt, or die by suicide. 17%, or 1 in every 6 students, consider suicide. Let me tell you about one of those students. Kim couldn't get over the heartbreak. Her first love broke up with her just before Valentine's Day. A close friend, Monica, noticed that Kim started coming to school late and missing algebra class, which led to a downward spiral in grades in most of her classes. Even though Kim had been a star softball player for years, she told her friends she wasn't trying out for the upcoming varsity softball team. She also shared that she was having difficulty sleeping and didn't feel like eating the things she used to love. Kim started talking about how meaningless life was after the breakup, and even posted an image on Instagram and said she wanted to end her pain altogether.
Students who are hurting can also turn their pain into hurting others. Every year in this country, there are on average 33 school shootings. This is just one of those stories. Christopher was getting bullied and even assaulted by a group of students every day freshman year. The group of boys who were harassing and bullying Christopher threatened to kill him if he told his parents or went to the police. As the school year went on, Christopher became severely depressed and thought about how he could get out of this torturous situation. He hated school. He started researching weapons online and reading about school shooters. His journal became filled with drawings of guns and morbid scenes. He would tell friends that he wanted revenge and that the bullies would be sorry for tormenting him. After an assault in the locker room at the end of the school year, Christopher decided he had enough. He let out his rage and frustration on different social platforms and posted images of assault weapons. But then his posts became more irate and hostile as the days went on. During the last week of school, he posted, "Don't come to school tomorrow if you want to live. People will pay."
Shootings are just one form of violence and crime that can occur within schools. Other forms of violence and crime include dating violence, verbal abuse, physical abuse, and theft. In fact, 79% of schools have reported incidents of crime. Some cases involve weapons, some do not. In all cases, incidents of crime in schools make everyone, students, teachers, and parents, feel like their school is less safe. Here is a story about Andrew, a student that experienced a violent crime at school. Andrew got a new phone and was showing it to his best friend. His friend warned him not to take it out in school because he could get jumped and have the phone stolen. As he was leaving school at the end of the day, he took the phone out to send a text, and 3 boys attacked him and grabbed the phone and ran off.
So as you've heard and read, while schools are safe, they're not immune to violence. The good news that these shootings, violence, suicides, and other harmful acts are preventable. That's because there are often warning signs and threats shown by individuals in need of help before a tragedy takes place, just like in many of the stories we shared. In fact, research shows that 87% of active school shooters planned their attacks in advance and often gave verbal, physical, and virtual signs that they were planning and plotting to harm others. Also, 70% of people who die by suicide tell someone of their plans or give some other warning sign. 37% of threats of violence were sent electronically before a violent act occurred. So, if we teach you how to look for these warning signs and threats, empower you to act immediately and take it seriously, and then say something, you will help reduce violence and create safer and healthier schools. Let's start with step 1. Look for warning signs and threats.
What is a warning sign? Warning signs are thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors that show you that a friend or classmate may intend to hurt themselves or others. It is important that you don't dismiss warning signs as someone just joking around, being dramatic, or seeking attention. Some warning signs might be more subtle or harder to observe. Here are some examples of warning signs. Withdrawal from others, bullying or hitting, having negative role models like school shooters, excessive anger, extreme mood changes, feelings of rejection, thoughts or plans of harming themselves or others, blames others for own failures, fear of riding the bus or going to school, will not forgive or forget the wrongs of other people, a big personality change, feelings of isolation, and dramatic changes in physical appearances.
Other warning signs include actions that are more obvious to observe, such as giving away possessions, fascinations with suicide, rigid beliefs or ideologies, bragging about access to guns, fascination with weapons or school shootings, fascinations with or writing and drawing about death, recruiting a friend to join an attack, warning a friend to stay away from school or an event, or bragging about an upcoming attack.
You also need to look out for threats. So, what is a threat? A threat is when a person communicates that they intend to harm themselves or someone else. They might say it, write it, or post it. Here are some examples of threats. After an act of violence in a different school, if a person says, someone should do that here, or someone should blow this place up, that is a threat. Threats could also be someone posting or saying, life isn't worth living. I'm going to take her and her friends out. You'd be better off without me. Or they will regret they ever met me. These types of statements clearly indicate that someone may be considering hurting themselves or someone else. So where can we find warning signs and threats? Anywhere and everywhere. You could find them on the bus, in the cafeteria, in hallways, in the classroom, at parties, and sporting events. Let's hear from students on where you can find warning signs and threats.
Really, it could be anywhere. My social media, or at school, at the bus stop, or even just hanging out with friends. Anywhere that I interact with my classmates is a place I might see warning signs, so I just try to keep my eyes and ears open wherever I am.
The place I've noticed the most actually is in the hallways at school and during lunchtime. I think people let loose a little and say things they wouldn't usually say in front of teachers. And it could just be that they're having a bad day. But what if it's more than that? I just watch out for anything that doesn't sound right.
I feel like a lot of people use social media to signal that they may need help. And they might not even know that's what they're doing. Sometimes the posts just don't seem right. But if you're paying attention, you realize it's a warning sign.
Personally, I found them in my classes. Since I see the same people there every day, I notice if something changes or if their mood seems really different. And I hear people talking to each other before class starts. You know, if I hear a classmate threaten someone, even if they don't mean for me to overhear, or maybe it's just a joke, but I still have to assume it could be a real threat.
While you are going to find warning signs and threats everywhere, you are most likely to find them on social media. Like me, I'm sure many of you have seen warning signs on Insta, Snap, and other social media platforms. It's where many students go to make a threat or express their feelings, including anger, anxiety, or depression. And trust me, the adults aren't on the same platforms we are, so they aren't seeing everything we see. We are the eyes and ears of our school. That's why we need to learn how to recognize when someone needs help. Here are examples of social media posts from students threatening to harm others. These are social media posts showing students threatening to harm themselves. Here are some examples of social media posts with warning signs about potential school shootings.
I want to emphasize that the Say Something anonymous reporting system isn't just about preventing violence and suicide. It can also be used to help someone that is being physically or verbally abused, someone that has a substance abuse or addiction problem, someone who has an eating disorder, or other serious issues they may be dealing with.
For example, people with substance abuse or addiction problems may experience serious health issues and be risking their lives by taking dangerous drugs. In one instance, a student with a drug addiction overdosed on medication and posted about her overdose on Snapchat. A friend saw the post and immediately informed an adult. The police were notified and the student was taken to the hospital where she began to get the help she needed.
In addition, people who are verbally and emotionally abused may experience significant mood changes as well as feelings of hopelessness and shame. In one instance, a student received a text from his friend that stated she was going to harm herself because she could no longer take her emotionally abusive father. The friend who received the text immediately contacted a counselor. The counselor and school nurse met with the student and developed a successful intervention plan.
Now that you know step 1, how to recognize warning signs and threats, let's learn about step 2, act immediately and take it seriously. It's important to act immediately and take it seriously when you see a warning sign or threat, because all too often, no one acts at all.
There are many reasons why we don't act immediately. For instance, we think a student is joking, not serious with their threat, or that someone else will do or say something about it to an adult. Listen to these common statements and thoughts. We all spoke to him, and he said he would never do that. I thought someone else would tell someone. I thought they would feel better tomorrow. They're too young to hurt themselves or others. He just wants attention. It's not real. I would say something if it was a big enough deal. I'm waiting for the right moment to say something. If he was going to do something, why would he announce it publicly? You know, just because it may be difficult doesn't mean it's an excuse for doing nothing. Not taking warning signs seriously and failing to act immediately could result in tragic consequences for you, your friends, and your classmates. Let's hear how some students overcame their fear of saying something.
I know I'm not trying to snitch or get anyone in trouble. I'm just looking out for myself, my classmates, and my friends.
I have a lot more to lose by not acting immediately and not taking it serious. I wouldn't want that weighing on me, knowing that I could have done something, but didn't act.
I think we want to tell ourselves that they're just kidding or it'll pass, but I just couldn't take that risk with my friend when she was posting all that stuff about wanting to give up. When someone's gonna hurt themselves or someone else, they usually talk to someone about it first. I'm just so glad that I took her post seriously because she's still here. And I don't know if that'd be true if I had just brushed it off.
You hear stories about kids who knew someone was making threats, but just talked to each other about it and didn't say anything to any of the adults in the school. Then something bad happens and all these people admit that they heard the comments, but just dismissed it as that person being dramatic or trying to get attention. I'm not an expert in that kind of thing. I'd rather take it seriously and act right away.
I can appreciate that what we're asking you to do may seem hard, but it doesn't have to be. It's helpful to know that there's no specific age when people start to show warning signs, and it's okay if you don't understand why a person is doing or saying something that concerns you. You can leave this to experts to understand and determine what help that person may need. Remember, individuals often announce their planned actions or show other warning signs. The most important thing is that if you see warning signs and threats, you act immediately and take it seriously. It's up to you to be an upstander, not a bystander, for your friends and classmates. Another reason that prevents students from acting immediately is that they fear they may be labeled a traitor or a snitch. They also may be afraid of being alienated, getting physically hurt, or getting into trouble.
There's a huge difference between saying something and telling on someone, or snitching. When you snitch, you're looking for a reason to get someone in trouble, either to create problems for them or to get something for yourself. When you say something, you're trying to get someone help for their own safety. Saying something is about helping someone else.
When you act immediately and take warning signs seriously, you can save lives. If you don't act, you could risk losing a friend or a classmate. It's also important to realize that when your classmates are showing warning signs, they need help and often don't know how to get the help they need. This brings us to step 3. After we see warning signs or threats, act immediately and take it seriously. The final step is to say something to a trusted adult, call 911, or use the Say Something Anonymous reporting system. One of the ways that you can say something is to tell a trusted adult. They have the experience and knowledge to get help.
A trusted adult is someone who will listen to you and someone you can always rely on. My trusted adult is my teacher, Miss Walker. I can go to her if I ever have a problem or see any of my classmates displaying warning signs. Your trusted adults can be a lot of different people. They could be your school teacher, your school administrator, your counselor, or your coach. They could also be someone outside of school, your parent or guardian, a friend's parent, family member, or a religious leader. And it's important that you know who your trusted adults are right now. This way, if you do see warning signs, you will know immediately who to go to.
I'm really close with my mom. I tell her everything. And my science teacher, Mr. Williams, is really helpful. When a friend of mine was always getting treated badly by her boyfriend, I talked to him about it. was kind of nervous about it at first, but it turned out to be really easy, and he helped her get out of that dangerous relationship.
Our school staff are really helpful and easy to talk to. All I have to say is, I need to speak to you, and they know what to ask. The important thing is to say something.
My coach is great. He's real easy to talk to, and he responds well. The good thing about my coach is that I'm able to reach him by texting. One time when I witnessed some kids bullying a classmate of mine, I was able to text them and let them know what was up.
My principal, Mrs. Clark, is always open to talking. I went to her once when I noticed some posts by a classmate that were concerning. I just brought in screenshots of the posts to her and shared the students' information. It wasn't intimidating or difficult at all.
Talking to adults or 911 about a warning sign or threat that you are seeing can sometimes feel difficult or awkward. But here is what you can do to prepare for this conversation. Gather any text, photos, videos, or other communications that you have available to show your trusted adult or share with 911.
After you gather any evidence you may have, there are 3 important parts to having a conversation. First, you must be direct. You can start your conversation with a sentence like, I must talk to you about my friend Jane, or I need to report an emergency about my friend Joe. Second, you want to explain the warning signs you're seeing with a sentence like, I noticed threats made to hurt other students. Finally, you want to clarify what you want to see happen as a next step with a sentence like, I need your help now to get my friend help immediately. And if you have it, bring the individual's full name, address, and any social media information. Let's watch an example of a student saying something to a trusted adult.
Hey, Ms. West.
Hello, Christina. Can I help you?
Sorry to bother you during your conference period, but I really need to talk to you for a minute.
Of course, anytime.
We were outside on the soccer field today for gym class. I was sitting on the sidelines, and some of the guys were picking on and bullying Aaron. I always try to get them to stop because it's not cool the way that they treat him. Today was real bad, so I stepped in. And after they left, he had told me that, he said that those guys were going to regret messing with him and that he was going to go get what he needed to make them pay. He also told me not to come around school tomorrow, or at least around the group of bullies.
How long ago was this? Do you know where he is?
Aaron is in class now, and it just happened a little while ago. I knew that he was just upset and tired of taking this, but I knew that I had to take this seriously and come to you immediately. I just can't sit back and risk people getting hurt or him doing anything because of how he's feeling.
Thank you for saying something. I'm going to get Principal Lamont on this ASAP. You did the right thing. Thank you, Christina.
Both the student and the adult in this example recognized the crucial information being shared, and the adult was able to take the next steps to help the student in need from being a danger to themselves or someone else.
You just learned how to say something to a trusted adult or call 911. But what if a trusted adult is unavailable or you're not comfortable calling 911? Use the Say Something anonymous reporting system.
You might be wondering, does that mean I have to give my personal information to a stranger? No. The Say Something anonymous reporting system is completely anonymous, so you don't have to give any information about yourself that you don't want to. The Say Something anonymous reporting system works by simply submitting your concern or issue using the app, telephone hotline, or website 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are trained crisis counselors ready to receive and act on anything you submit to them. To use the app, download it to your phone or mobile device. Search for Say Something Anonymous Reporting System in either Google Play or the App Store. Next time you have your phone, remember to download the app.
Once you've downloaded the app, open it on your mobile device. The first time you launch the app, you will need to create your own numeric passcode. Then you can sign in. Next is to locate your school within the app. Select the concern from the menu that you would like to address. You will then be asked to type in details about your concern. Finally, upload any photos, videos, or sound files related to your concern, and then hit submit. You will be able to have an anonymous two-way conversation with a crisis counselor to ensure they have all the information they need to get help for the individual you're concerned about. You will also get a case number so you can log back in at a later time and add more information if you want. If you want to submit the tip on the website rather than through the app, first go to saysomething.net. Once there, select the Submit a Tip icon and then complete the form.
If you'd prefer to submit a tip over the phone, call 1-844-5-SAY-NOW or 1-844-572-9669. You will speak with a crisis counselor who will ask you a series of questions. Before the call is over, the crisis counselor will provide you with a tip number and password. This information will allow you to log in online and provide new or additional information you may have about your tip. After you've logged in online, it also allows you to exchange private messages to share any additional anonymous information. It's as easy as that. Thanks to your anonymous tip, the crisis counselors will work with the appropriate people in your school or community to act on your tip and intervene as needed.
So why should you say something? You are the eyes and ears of your school.
Why should you say something? You see and hear things others don't.
Why should you say something? You can reduce violence, suicide, and threats. If you say something, you can save a life of a friend or classmate. Because shootings, violence, suicide, and other harmful acts are preventable when you know the signs and when you say something. Today, you learn the 3 steps to the Say Something Anonymous reporting system. Step 1, look for warning signs and threats. Step 2, act immediately and take these warning signs seriously. And step 3, say something to a trusted adult, call 911, or use the Say Something Anonymous reporting system.
By bringing the 3 steps of Say Something Anonymous reporting system into our day-to-day lives, we, as students, will be able to reduce violence and threats in our schools and make our schools and communities a better place to be. We have the power to make a difference in the world around us just by saying something. In closing, I would like to share a final example of when a student used the Say Something Anonymous reporting system to save their friend's life. This student received a text from his friend that the friend wanted to kill himself due to a recent breakup. To add to this friend's stress, he was also suffering from serious problems at home. The student submitted a tip through the app, and emergency responders were able to locate him. Unfortunately, the friend was not safe and was in serious danger of harming himself. What could have been a real tragedy was averted. The friend received help and support because the student reported the warning sign. That friend's life was saved. Just imagine how good, how powerful it feels to be able to say something to get someone the help they need. That's something we can all do.
Thank you for taking the time to learn about the Say Something Anonymous reporting system. Being a student means you are uniquely positioned to influence and support the community around you. Stand up for your school, your peers, and your friends, and say something. Thank you.
Yo, babe, has anyone ever told you that meme you kind of look like?
Yeah, I get it pretty often, actually. It's kind of weird.
I don't see it.
Alright.
I don't see it.
Oh, yo. I think your shoe's inside, bro.
Oh, damn, it is.
Yeah, I'll wait for you.
Hey, yo, broskies. Did you guys hear about the Fend app?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you doing, bro?
Whoa, stop. My guy, you've never heard of the Fend app before? Well, let me show you.
FEND stands for Full Energy No Drugs, and the app is designed to educate the youth on the opioid crisis, as well as other prevalent issues in society, like mental health and prescription drug abuse. The app features lots of educational videos and quizzes designed to help educate you about the opioid addiction. You can even earn cool rewards and prizes from the points you receive for watching the videos and filling out the quizzes.